can look at it. I don't know why, usually it just pops right up and remembers it.
One is right out here, and it's here.
There we go. Pittsfield, semicolon.
It's only because there were 4 or 5 of them and we got used to the other ones, so now we gotta look at the paper. Alright, do not touch this because it will move. So the town hall streams is on, and now I'm gonna record on here.
Recording in progress.
So we are all set to go.
Gonna turn on the PG.
Oh, that's good, we can do that too. Even though we don't have any people, it still looks pretty.
That's your computer, right?
Yes. It was working a few minutes ago. It worked really good last night. But then all of a sudden, all kinds of strange networking things took place here. I also found that, again, even though Zoom told me this would not happen, the Ordinance Committee meeting and the budget workshop combined themselves into one long meeting again. So I separated them again and made this meeting get over with at 6:45, and hopefully that will hold. It doesn't like it when they get up 5:45, when they get up to the same time.
Okay, why don't we go ahead and get started then, if we've got that all sorted out. I'm gonna just keep trying to get on so that I'm on for the next meeting too, but right now it's being
There's
a
been
little
significant email and internet issues here within the last couple of hours.
yeah. Somewhere along the way, I lost my agenda.
I have another one here if you
Is
want.
there printed one?
It always happens when there's 2 meetings in a row.
Well, I filed a bunch of my stuff from the other meetings and I think I just tucked it away with something else. Okay, so this is a meeting of the Ordinance Committee for the town of Pittsfield. Today is October 26th. We're gonna try and wrap up by 6:30 because we have a council budget meeting workshop following. Roll call, we have all committee members are present. Pete Lodgedice, Jason Hall, Heather Donahue, and town manager Catherine Ruth are all here. Old business, we have the fireworks language review for adoption as separate fireworks ordinance. Jason has been doing a bunch of work on this, which we all greatly appreciate, and has another draft here for us. Do you want to go ahead and talk about the changes that you have made on that?
Yeah, based on the fire chief's comments that he sent to us, I incorporated those into the latest ordinance. Mostly that was around the limitations on locations and distancing, which basically he added 4.3 subparagraph A and B, which was aerial displays could not be ignited within 100 feet of any neighboring structure not owned by the user unless the user has permission from the property owner. And then ground displays could not be ignited within 25 feet of a neighboring structure not owned by the user unless the user had permission from the property owner. That was his kind of the biggest thing. He had 4.1 subparagraph C. Fireworks may not be used on fire class 1 may only be used on fire class 1 or 2 days. So fire class 3 through 5, you would not be able to use fireworks. Beyond that, he just kind of, I don't have the red markup that he gave me because I incorporated it into the original, but let's see. I do have it here somewhere. Where is it? Sorry, I didn't have that pulled up. I think it came from you, didn't it, Heather?
For which?
From fireworks. Yeah, the chief, here we go. So anything else was just kind of clarifying who you would file complaints with, which was the Pittsfield Police or the Fire Department, or their designees. And that was really all he added. Yeah, that was pretty much all he added, just clarification on distancing and who you would file complaints with, and then the fact that you can't shoot fireworks on class 3 through 5 days.
Right.
And then beyond that, like we discussed last time, we were trying to figure out permits, special permits if you wanted to light fireworks off on like a random day. So I kind of modified 4.2. I don't know how you would want to maybe reword that, but what it states now is that a resident property owner may obtain a special permit by going to wardenreport.com, and then it states that residents are limited to 5 permits per calendar year. That was a number we kind of threw out there, so I put it down. We can modify that one way or another. I don't know if we want to say 5, permits outside of the 4.1 limitations. I don't know how you. I mean, 5 is still quite a few.
They wouldn't need a permit on those other days, so they wouldn't want to use up one of their permits.
So I guess it would be outside of the 4.1 dates and times. So maybe 5 is quite a bit, but at least there's some kind of limitations.
Well, if you were looking at having like 5 times overall, then it would be 6
Right.
special permits plus the 2 special weekends. And our language in 4.1 says either the weekend prior or after, but we wouldn't, so people could do it 2 weekends in a row,
Right.
so.
So technically, I guess a particular resident could shoot off fireworks, 7 times a year, which isn't crazy, but.
Well, 9 if it's the weekend prior.
Oh yeah.
Or after.
Sorry, yes, both the 4th of July and New Year's Eve.
And then New Year's.
Yep.
Um,
So maybe we, instead of 5, we say 3. I don't know if you wanted to limit it that much. It's.
Do you think that that's an issue? Do you think people are gonna be like, I have 9, I'm gonna use all 9, or?
Right. I mean, I've never lit fireworks in Pittsfield, so so I will never use any. But
I know.
but yeah, I mean, I think we put 5 in when we discuss at the overall council. Maybe they'll say something different, but
Sure, that's something.
I mean, that's up to you guys. I just
Yeah,
put
plus we have the public input to come to.
Right. Yeah. So.
I think you can just leave it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
We can start with 5 and use that as a starting point.
Yeah. The only other, so on that 4.2, I didn't get into a lot of depth, but but we could, I didn't know how to really word how you wanted to kind of present that to people. Like, just telling them to go to a website doesn't give them a lot of guidance. Maybe you could maybe put a link.
Does the warden report, I think when we looked at it before in the last meeting, we were able to see what other towns did for permitting and the information that they had.
Right.
So like they said, you can only do it on these particular days or things like that.
Yeah, so I guess they don't really put too many limitations on there, but you can attach your ordinance.
Right.
So this ordinance will be there. That will really kind of dictate what people can do or not do. But then, so say I go on there as a resident and I fill out a permit for 5 weeks in a row. The fire chief or any other designee has the ability to log into that website. If the town signs up for it, they have a town login, which would be Bernard and maybe Chief Bickmore would have logins, maybe the town manager too. They'd have logins and they'd see, okay, well, Jason's got an active one right now, and now I want to know how many he's done prior to this. You don't run a report, but it gives you a list of all the old permits for that year. So they'll see that I've done it, 5 times, and then they know the next time, I just won't be able to get another one.
So it does the limitations on there. If you put it in that they can only have 5, then the wardenreport.com will actually limit that.
It won't. I don't think it'll kick them out.
Okay.
It won't kick them back, but I think either chief would. I think it would stick out when you start seeing who's kind of doing it on a regular basis. And if you think somebody's close or what have you,
do you think that
then and they can. I think Bernard or Bickmore could, maybe have a little, when they actually go to sign up, you can ask the warden report some of these more specific questions that if they want to tailor a few things. That's kind of separate from the ordinance itself.
Yeah.
But they do have some capability, like on the test town, they didn't have fireworks on there as a test thing, and I messaged them and asked them about it, and 5 minutes later there was a fireworks ordinance, a fireworks permit under the test town. So they're really willing to work with you. It's free for all residents. I think there is I don't know if it's a $75 annual fee for towns.
It's pretty nominal.
But I think they say, I can't remember what town it was, but one of the towns saved, on their annual budget, it was like $2,100. I don't know why it was costing the town any money really, but they stated that it was saving them $2,100. I don't know if maybe it was clerical work because the clerks had to fill out paperwork or something like that for burn permits. They were probably more talking about burn permits than something else, but I think it's a pretty good option. It's got a lot of capability, and it will rate on there. If it's class 3 for Pittsfield, it won't let you fill it out.
Right. So it kind of weeds things out a little.
It automatically weeds out people, for that. And right now we don't have any class 5, I could go light off fireworks right now. Like there's nothing stopping me from doing that.
Because the red flag is the red flag language.
Yeah, some of that language, yeah. But I think it's a good option. I think they'll work with, whatever they can. Some of their stuff is limited, but I think it's going to kind of check off most of the boxes. And Bernard might have, better luck, calling them up during the day and whatnot.
Yeah, Bernard had mentioned, and I got the notice the same day that he called in to talk to me about another item. On the burn permits, the fee has been waived, so it's 0 now. So any resident can go on, there's no cost whatsoever. So more people are going to go there now.
Well, that's for the state.
That's for the state
website. So this is the warden report is is a different, it's different from the state. It's another option, I guess. It's not part of the state's.
So they're
Burn
not,
permit.
they're not together in one,
They're not the same they're not one and the same, no. Because that was kind of some of the selling point to the warden's report was that they're not gonna charge you $7 for every burn permit that you get. And the state does. Obviously, they just waived it, so they're not doing it, but they typically did.
well, hopefully these
So-
are all linked together. Yeah, we can ask.
Well, I mean, I think maybe if you can do it all with one site, I think that's what we'll wanna do.
Yes.
But I think the warden's report is is likely that site.
Ideally, it would be great if the state just added a fireworks permit to their burn permit, because it collects quite a bit of information when you do the online permitting with that. It asks you all of your information. It asks you if you're the actual property owner. You have to describe where you're doing it and all these different things. And it also has in there like what the fire day is
Right.
and those types of things. I can't imagine they would want to be expanding that though,
Right.
given that they're now not charging for it.
Right. Catherine, are you able to maybe go on to that website and share your screen? Is that, because we can do a test down and we can all look at it.
Yeah,
know
I
if
don't
that's-
dare touch this because
Okay.
the last time I
Alright.
touched it, everything
Yeah.
went out.
No, that's
There's
fine.
some sort of little short going on here.
Okay.
We wanna have the Zoom. for
Catherine,
later.
if there's a way you can let me into the meeting, it says when I put the information in to log in, but it says this meeting is scheduled for 9/28, 2021.
Yeah, there's something weird going on, it's not scheduled
Yeah.
for 9/28, and I don't see you here.
You know what, I think maybe this code is actually from the last meeting and not,
No, the code was the right code, because I checked that out today, when the issue is that the two meetings come together, 5:30 to 6:30, and then 6:30 to 10:30, and it combined into one meeting again on Zoom, going from 5:30 to the end of the evening, so I've disconnected these so that they're separate again. But it has the same numbers.
well, I think I have the agenda for the last meeting here, and the actual
Oh.
meeting code that's on here is actually the same meeting code. It maybe the link is different.
Yeah, the link may be different. I went in and it set itself up and everything.
Okay, let me go in and I'll try the link, because the actual meeting IDs are the same, so. let me
Yeah, I
see.
don't dare change this, because when I went in and even touched something, the whole screen went out.
I was just thinking if I went in, I could get my screen up,
Yeah.
and then if you gave me sharing, then I could put it up. But I don't know if that will also do that.
Yeah. While you're working on that, the only other thing, like Pete had mentioned, was 6-1. Some counselors had heartburn over the exception of local schools, so I just took that out. Obviously, local schools they can
Just do one part.
do a permit like anybody else, I suppose. And, there's a lot of residents at that address anyway, so I guess you could you could technically get a lot of permits if they really wanted to. So
It's still coming up with the 9/28.
Yeah, and there is no 9/28.
No.
See, this is something else has happened to this when it combined itself. So this is the second time I've tried to put two meetings, one ahead of the other, and I'm gonna have to separate them by at least 15 minutes.
Do you have the login number there? Does it show on your screen? For
No.
No.
I can, once I touched the screen, the whole thing went out, and it took me about 15 to 20 minutes to get back in,
So we won't do that.
which is why I'm not touching it.
Oh, let me just see if I can bring up the warden report. Is it .com, where'd it go?
It's wardenreport.com.
It is .com. So, there's a warden's report, there's a home, there's a warden's login, and then an about us.
Yeah, I like, well, so About Us tells you a lot about what it offers and some of the benefits and whatnot.
Is that where the test town is?
No, so if you go to the warden's report,
Yeah.
and then you go down and say all towns. For some reason, like on a phone, it doesn't work too well, but on my computer it did.
Town selection,
Yep, and then you can just start typing in test,
test town.
and it'll be a test town.
Terms and conditions, print and sign your permit, it cites the state law. Hard copy on hand. Gives you the rules and regulations, you have to agree to that. And then you start putting in your contact information.
Yep. So then you
And
agree
the
to
burn
it.
site. Oh, good, it allows you to choose it the same as the burn address. The state one, you have to put your address in like 3 times.
Yeah, no.
And then it asks about brush, cooking fire, grass, campfire, fireworks.
Yeah.
Asks you to put what your tools available are.
And you have to select some type of tool, like you can't just leave that blank.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then once you do that, you submit, and it will show you like a kind of a generic what your permit would look like, I guess. And here is kind of where you would have your ordinance linked in there with it, so somebody couldn't really claim ignorance to not knowing the ordinance or something like that. Yeah. Would have been a little better had we had a display, but.
I mean, I think it'll work fine. I mean, it's definitely worth trying.
I
And
think
if
it's
it-
very good.
But if you look at sorry, did you fill that out?
Oh no, I just closed it.
Oh, that's all right. I was just gonna see if, because I haven't really seen a burn permit before. I didn't know if maybe you had all the things you're expecting to see.
For this or for like an actual burn permit?
Well, no, for that
Oh,
warden's
yeah.
report.
I was gonna say.
I think I mean, I would imagine these guys are all, 25-year fire chiefs and.
So I mean, overall, I think, looking back at my notes from the last meeting, I think that, the modifications addressed all the questions that we had about it. As far as getting the fire chief's input on the distances, and then also, the building distances and height and everything. I like that it's separated out from aerial versus ground display, because I feel like people just kind of lump them in together, and they do have different risks involved. And then the timing of the permits and how many was the other thing. So, and then changing that red flag language, I think was, something that Amanda was worried about.
Yeah, I just took that out of there.
That makes a lot more sense using the fire permitting type language.
Right.
anyway.
Yeah.
So I think this round has addressed all of the issues that we had with it. Did Bernard, when you talked to him, did he have any feelings one way or another about the wardenreport.com?
He thought this was all very interesting. He had indicated he had provided some comments to Jason. He was gonna go back and look at that to see if there was anything else that he was going to do. But he thought that at that time, this was worth a try. He was gonna go in and look through everything
Okay.
and report back.
So if we
It does
didn't hear
sound-
anything, and I'm sure we'll probably get more feedback, at a public hearing as well.
And this is just talking out loud, but do we say? Yeah, because the state website doesn't give you the fireworks option. I was thinking, well, maybe you just say, you know, for a resident to go online, and you don't say specifically like the website. So then if Bernard says, oh no, we're gonna go with the state website and not the warden's report, then you wouldn't have to come back and change the ordinance.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the state website doesn't provide fireworks permit, and the warden's report does.
So I'm wondering if we can just put in, because they might end up like commercializing it and changing the name of the website. You know, that could
Right,
change later
right.
on too, or it could become a nonprofit and be a .org instead of .com.
Right, and they could go. The state could adopt the put the fireworks
Put that
on theirs,
in.
and then we'll just use the state one. I don't.
Yeah. So I wonder how we keep that in there, but keep it generic enough
Right.
that we wouldn't have to go back and change. Or maybe we change it to online permitting currently in use by the town of Pittsfield, and then direct them to
The town
the
website.
town website for the fire department, the page for the fire department, and have the information there. Because it gives us a little more leeway as far as being able to change that if situation
Right.
changes,
Yeah.
as well as having it more kind of real time.
Right.
You know, at some point in time, if we incorporate other payment things, like we're talking about doing the rec department and stuff,
Right.
and incorporating that, so maybe we could actually just incorporate this right in with it, so that it would just feed into all of the town information together.
Right.
And I think that's probably much later on, but
Yeah. So
that might be an
that was
option.
4-2, right? So let's just say.
What number was that?
Resident property owners may obtain a special permit.
4.2.
Yeah. Just direct them to the town website, right?
I would think so, because we have
It's always
easy
gonna be the
access
town
to that.
website.
We
Yeah.
have easy access to it, and it can get changed as needed.
So just
So
Pittsfield.
they were able to add the link to the town website that we're gonna choose?
Oh yeah, that could be put in there too.
Yeah, okay.
So just, yeah, Pittsfield.org. Do we put that right in there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, it'll stay the same.
And then the warden report information can actually live on the town page for the fire department. And it can also kind of explain, maybe all of this information lives on that page too, or links back to the electronic document.
Right.
Great.
It can be accessed, so if somebody goes to the fire department first, they can find the code for it, and they can find the link to go get the permit, and other information that might be relevant for it too.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's good thinking.
'Cause I've seen that, and there's plenty of examples of those on other town websites too.
Mhm.
So but as far as the ordinance goes, that kind of covers it. We don't have to mess with it going down the road. I don't think.
So I will call Bernard tomorrow to get his last information and have it passed along to you if there's any changes.
Probably let them know too, when would we wanna bring this to the council? Do we wanna wait and do it in January? With the hopes of that we would have other things to bring forward, or do we wanna try and do it before the holiday season this year? Do we wanna squeeze another public hearing in?
I think we would do this all with everything and do it perhaps in January and be ready to go.
Okay.
Unless there's a specific need right now.
Do you
And the
think-
needs that have been brought forward are, one that already is property damage, that what's happened to the person shouldn't be happening regardless of what we're doing.
Right.
And the other one has to listen to a lot of noise.
imagine there's a cost associated with, well, we can bring this to the council,
Council
right?
can discuss it, yes.
The council
We
can
can do
approve
that.
it, and then we can say, we're gonna set this public hearing January 10th,
Right.
or whatever it would be. Probably the second meeting
Mhm.
rather than the first one, so that,
Yes.
cause there's a lot of housekeeping stuff that happens at the first one, with all
Correct.
the committee work, and swearing people in and all that kind of
Right.
stuff. So, the second meeting would probably be a better one to do it at.
Yeah.
So I know it's just a work in progress, but I definitely do not like 4.4. And I'm not all that keen on A with 100 feet. But I mean, it's just a working draft, it's a working draft anyway. And it'd be nice to see what the other councilors have to say.
And so the issue with 4.4 is
Just a single complaint, because
That-
I mean, that could be
anybody could file a complaint.
any, you know, if somebody shoots off next to that, next to their resident or whatever, they can come in and complain and have the police shut down whatever they're doing.
Right, but,
Or the fire chief.
so in there, it does say that,
So then on 4.5, you have the multiple complaints from multiple residents. That's a whole different, you know, to me, that's a whole different story than just one person
right,
coming in that might have a hair.
but it's still up to the kind of, the police or the fire chief has the, they make the decision. So, I don't know, you kind of put it on them to weigh out if it's just, somebody that's annoyed with somebody else, or if it's a real complaint.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, yeah, that's. Yeah.
So if somebody were to have one of the permits and their neighbor complained, if they already have a permit, then they should be able to be told that, your neighbor has a permit, it's already been issued, they're complying,
Right. Yeah, I mean, the only complaint somebody would have at that point is noise, I guess, but if they have a permit, then, and they're done at 10 p.m., then they're good.
And they're within the guidelines set.
Right,
in the
yeah, I mean,
ordinance.
Well, it also, goes to that, I mean, it's very vague. Aggravating circumstances such as a sick family member, presence of animals in the area, propensity of animals to suffer adverse health effects. I mean, my dog gets scared.
Most animals are gonna.
Yeah, my dogs.
I have one dog that couldn't care less, and the other one goes and hides in a corner.
Yeah.
She didn't used to, but she does now, but,
I mean, to me, a single complaint, I don't know. If there's multiple complaints, then there's something going on that's really not.
I mean,
Right. Yeah.
if you live next to somebody and their dog is always afraid, then does that mean that you never have the option of
Right.
exercising the ability to?
That's why I don't really particularly care for that single complaint. I don't have so much heartburn about the multiple ones, multiple complaints.
Do you wanna leave it in there as a topic of discussion?
I mean, I think we
bring
can,
that
because
up
I mean, it's
before-
not a final by any means, so.
Mhm.
I
We'll
mean,
bring
it can
that
just be
up
a
at
topic,
the
topic
full
of discussion for the whole council.
Okay. And 100 feet, do you think that's too far? Or no?
I was thinking that's too far, but I don't know. I would like to maybe heard where to get the 100 feet from. The chief, fire chief.
Yeah.
Well, that was the area.
But again, that's something we can do when we're in,
Right.
we can ask that information.
Yeah, that was for the aerial display too.
Yeah. Again, it's not a showstopper for me. It's just those are
Discussion item.
discussion items for sure.
Sure.
That's pretty much the comments that I had on.
Yeah.
100 feet isn't really that far though. I mean, that's like the length
Pretty
of
close.
the barn. It's not that far.
No.
It's probably two of these rooms. This is probably, 45,
Yeah.
35 feet maybe?
Yeah. I mean, it's.
Maybe 3. you have a 2-story structure, you have a house here and then a house like over there.
Right.
Like, I don't know.
And I don't know about you, but if I was to light them off, everybody around me would give me permission to light them off. Like they're not gonna, nobody around me cares if I light them off.
I mean,
Out back my house.
normally the good neighbor thing to do would be to go around and say, hey, I'm gonna
Right.
light
Yeah.
fireworks,
Exactly. Yeah.
just to let everybody know so they're not getting
Right.
surprises.
So-
Right,
I mean, it's just a neighborly thing to do.
so you
Right.
wanna leave that in there?
Do
and
you
then
see
we'll-
Brent coming?
I'm fine with leaving it, I just,
Yeah. Okay.
it'd just be a topic of discussion when we,
Okay, so we'll leave that.
to see if there's anybody else that had those same kind of comments.
Right. Okay.
And I'm sure Bernard can have some, more
Yeah.
input on the 100 foot if you
Right.
want that. So, okay, okay, so we're happy with that?
I think I'm good.
Any other changes that we need to make, if we look at B, chapter 6, the noise and public conduct, we kind of looked at that before, that addressed some of the concerns that residents had brought, as far as like Catherine had said, the damage to the property and some of the complaints that generated this were already able to be dealt with under that ordinance.
Where was that?
It's the second item under B.
Oh, on the
And
agenda?
just our regular
Oh, on the
noise.
agenda. Sorry.
Yeah, just our regular noise, ordinance that we have has, some of the complaints were from excessive noise, you know, so that's already dealt with under this. Did we wanna do any adjustments to that while we're doing this, or?
I mean,
I don't think we dealt with it at our prior ones. at our prior
excessive
meetings.
noise based on fireworks?
Just noise in general. If somebody was complaining about the noise from fireworks being excessive, it could be addressed under existing ordinances we already have.
Right.
And then also the property damage with the trash falling on other people's
Right.
property. Those are all things that could be addressed.
And I mean, I think debris is covered under here.
Yeah, I think that if we do end up passing this, that we shouldn't need to make any modifications to the
Right.
noise ordinance.
So we're good with B, we don't need to do anything else with that.
I think so.
Yeah, I
Okay.
mean,
New business and other ordinances, or ordinance amendments. I don't know of anything else we have coming before us right now. Anybody have anything else they wanna bring up, or?
No.
I mean,
No.
the solar ordinance would be something that we should probably look at next year, kind of work on that, just because there's so much interest in it,
hmm.
maybe not, maybe wait until the state comes up with something and then look at that.
Right.
MMA may have a model ordinance by that time too that we can look at. They usually do that.
Okay, so maybe we'll think about that. And as for the rest of the pending items, are these all things that we would also deal with in January as far as raising the limits and stuff? Catherine just put them all
Yes,
together.
yes.
And things on hold and pending are just ordinances that, Peak is gonna be working on, so hopefully we can get a meeting of Peak together here soon and start looking at these items. It's been kind of, a crazy summer.
I was asked once the budget for together to put together packages, once we get through this meeting, to put together packages for everyone, distribute those and assign or have people volunteer to look at certain ordinances and then collect up all that information for a meeting.
Okay. So are there members on Peak that already have an interest in doing some of this? Because if we have, maybe we should just have a Peak meeting and
Yeah, I've got to
divvy it up.
Yeah, I've got to work on that, but I also have to shut down this meeting or we're gonna have trouble with the budget
Okay,
workshop.
let's do that. I don't think there wasn't anybody on, right?
Somebody came on, but they came on for the next meeting.
Okay. Alright.
Alright, so are we adjourned for this meeting?
Does anybody have anything else?
Nope.
We'll just have
That
those
was
few
it.
items coming to us at some point.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, alright, so look for a motion then.
Motion we adjourn?
Second.
And we are adjourned.
Recording stopped.
We didn't technically say we were gonna send it to the council, but we all agreed that it was going to the council, so we're good.
Yeah.
Consensus is this will go to the council as written.
Yeah, both of these meetings are gonna go together because they got too close.
You see there, those lots up behind the hospital there are all for sale now?
Oh, are they?
That subdivision.
Ah, that's where I had heard they were gonna,
Yeah, if you go to like Realtor.com, there's like, I don't know, 15 lots up there
oh, yeah,
that are all for sale.
interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, so they have them all listed now.
They're
Are they
all-
still planning on putting the solar project in there? Cause that was gonna go.
I think that's like behind,
It's moved to another location behind it.
I think it's more or less behind, like Huff's or something,
Mm-hmm.
kinda sort of.
Yes.
But I know Huff's is
Is it
expanding.
still in Pittsfield if it's behind Huff's? They're
Yes.
like right on the town.
Well, there's a lot of work, cause Huff's expanding back too, so
Yeah.
it's, I don't know, a lot of different stuff going on.
All right, because these two meetings are gonna now merge together, I don't wanna lose the town budget workshop, so it's gonna be at the end of the ordinance committee. It doesn't look like any way to turn it off.
Okay, so let's,
We're all done.
can we just change the town website when it gets posted and just have a note there, or have the link be the same for both? With a note that the budget workshop
At this
starts
time,
at
we
whatever
can't even
time.
get on the town website, we're blocked from getting on.
Because of the internet.
The internet issues, yeah.
Well, I mean, when it does get posted.
Yeah, I'll put it for a second.
Do we know if, Amanda is able to come this evening?
No, she has a family emergency.
And Tim, was tonight the night that he had to work another Tuesday?
No, it was a different day, he was
Okay.
coming. Yeah, I'm definitely not gonna be able to have two Zoom meetings in a row. There is no way out of this. Can't minimize.
So, is it possible to log into that meeting?
At this point, I'm gonna turn everything off and see if we can get that on.
Okay,